Because you have such uniformity of geography, and you have such prosperity within an isolated geographical region, it is natural that a uniform, intense culture will develop there. And this has always been noticed by scholars who came to India, that India has a very special civilization, very special culture, which is different than anybody else, and which is also uniform across the country. So I'll quote only one of the major demographers of our times. This is a quote from Kingsley Davis, of not very old, 1951. Kingsley Davis is considered the first modern demographer of this region. It's a very important demographer in Los Angeles. He, while writing about the demography of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, at that time there was no Bangladesh when he wrote this book, India and Pakistan, he says that, I'll just read it out, Indian ideas and institutions taken as a whole resemble those of no other people. They have a peculiar shape and flavor of their own. They have tended to transform and absorb any foreign elements that trickled into the region. For India, though politically conquered by outsiders, was never culturally conquered. This peculiar culture has to some degree penetrated and pervaded nearly every part of what is geographically India. It has everywhere been affected by local indigenous variations, but neither the geographical nor the social barriers inside the subcontinent have been sufficient to prevent the widespread diffusion of a common basic culture which, despite great variations, is peculiar to India. This was the experience almost of every great scholar, every traveler who came to India, that they have come to a different land which is separate from others, and which is from the beginning to the end that they walk through. Everywhere is the same as, in fact, there may be people wearing different clothes, eating different food, but everywhere you can sense that you are in India and not anywhere else. I think what I have quoted may have been the last quote of this kind of a scholar, because after 50s, 60s, we tried to create an image as if India is a very disparate land where only heterogeneity matters and the homogeneity of this country is not important at all. That's what we started emphasizing, and the foreigners also started doing this. There is, of course, everybody knows, if there is such a large landmass, there will be heterogeneity. There will be peculiarities of different regions. Different areas will have different language. But all that is happening within an overarching homogeneity. That understanding, which even the foreigners always felt and we always knew, has somehow been lost in our modern education, in our modern period of India. It perhaps was persisted up to my feeling is, if Kingsley Davis could write in 1951, it will be persisting at least up to independence. And this uniqueness that people are talking about is anchored in what we know as Sanatana Dharma, the Dharma which is inborn within Indian land. Even all Indians, even those who came to India from outside, have tended to follow it. The few foreigners that crossed India from India with Alexander of Macedonia onwards have always marveled at the natural richness and civilizational homogeneity. You read Aryan once again, the campaigns of Alexander. The kind of homogeneity, kind of specialness about India that Aryan is ascribing is worth reading. And many of those who came from outside soon merged into the homogeneous Indian civilization milieu, Many of them who were the most successful became great devotees of Sanatana Dharma and took Sanatana Dharma beyond the given boundaries of